What's your mission? The mission of your life?
What is your
Yeah, mission of, that's a very hard thing to answer. That's a very hard thing to answer because
you talk so much about things that you care for.
Sure.
But when did you realize that I have a mission for this planet?
Well, I think
People and
this idea started very young. I think the first thing that I always think is I'm always willing to embrace the fact that my ideas change. You know, so I try not to be so steadfast and narrow-minded about what I think is important, because it's not just me, you know. But in terms of if what you're asking is when did I know that the things that were important about my experience were important to speak about, I mean, this comes from my childhood, you know. My mother, when I was a kid, she never told me not to speak my mind. She may have tried to frame when I spoke my mind. You understand? Because sometimes, depending on the context, you can't just blurt out what you think. But this is from when I was 2 or 3 years old. If I had an issue with something, it was okay for me to express the fact that I had anxieties about it. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that where I grew up and where she is from, most black men don't actually have an opportunity to speak about the things they see. You live in a world where you are heavily undereducated, so there can be a labor class. Do you understand this, right? There has to be someone very comfortable being a janitor in New Orleans because the economy is based on tourism. So if they limit the amount of resources you have in terms of educating yourself, then it's the higher chances for you to be a laborer in prison or to be a laborer in the society. So because when I was small, my mother saw this as a little girl growing up. She said that her sons, she was going to make sure spoke their mind as a means of refining what they thought and becoming more learned. So I think it really starts when I'm smaller than these guys are, you know, with not being told what to think, but to think. You understand? Okay. Cool.
thank you.
So your,
No problem.
both your mom who gave you this and whose voice you kept in mind.
She gives everything,
the
you know.
trumpet,
Yeah, she's giving me everything. So yeah.